Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital at the Doctor of Digital podcast. Welcome to the program because I had a great guest this morning. Been wanting to get this guy on for quite some time. This is Mindful Money Mastery and Prosperity, Joel Solomon's path to financial freedom. The show exists to transform your life and business through conversations that inspire, equip, and uplift. I connect busy people to powerful voices, authors, leaders, and world changers you need to know. What if lasting wealth starts with a shift in how you think about money? Joel Solomon proves that it's possible. As a finance and mindful money expert and master prosperity coach, he helps emerging and established entrepreneurs break through financial challenges. Joel is a finance and mindful money expert and master prosperity coach who helps people overcome obstacles standing in the way of their financial freedom. You'll hear Joel's powerful journey from traditional finance to a mindful, purpose driven approach to money. Ready to elevate your finances and your impact? Hope that you can connect with Joel and explore his speaking, coaching, and resources. Joel can support you, your team, and your audience in achieving lasting financial freedom with purpose. And with that, I want to welcome Joel to the program. How you doing today, Joel?
Great to be here. Thank you so much, Mick, for having me. I really appreciate you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today.
Well, the pleasure is all mine because, like I said, I've been trying to get you on the program for a while. I appreciate you taking out some busy schedule from your family, your work, and everything else that you do. But I really appreciate you spending some time. I'd wonder how you got from being a traditional finance expert to the expert in what you're doing and mind over matters. How did that come about?
That's a great question, Mick. So, yes, I achieved my first dream in 2008, which was, if you asked me in 1993 what my dream was, I would have said hedge fund manager, money manager. And it took me 15 years, a lot of circuitous route to get there.
Sure.
And I achieved that dream. And I was doing that dream at my own hedge fund in 2015 when I went to a personal development course that completely changed my life.
All right.
At that personal development course, two things happened. First, we had a guest speaker speaking about stocks and stock options. And when he
Mhm.
spoke about stock options in particular, he made it sound easy. He said, you don't need much time, you don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich, and options are essentially risk free. And I was sick to my stomach. There were people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering in my ear, Joel, does this make sense? Are options really risk free? So I was polite. We were polite. And after he was done, we went out of the auditorium. I told him, please don't do this. He has no idea about any of you individually. And
Mhm.
most importantly, no idea about your belief
Yeah.
that you could become rich using options. Now, the second thing that happened at that course was we were given a wooden board 2 inches thick, and we were told we're going to break it with our bare hand. Have you done it, Mick?
No, I haven't done it. I've heard of it, but I haven't done it.
There's a lot of fear in the room. There were
Sure.
200 people, and the exercise was called Obstacles Are Illusions. And on one side of the board, we had our right, our biggest obstacle, and then on the other side, our ultimate goal, which stumped me for a while, and then it hit me. Make everyone in this room financially free. Make everyone in this room financially free. And then I broke the board like the other 200 people in the room that day. Went home that night and I couldn't sleep. First, the guy was in my head. And I realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak on a stage, because my biggest fear that day was public speaking,
Okay.
I could be of service,
Mm,
not lie to people, and tell them the truth about money.
yeah.
And then the second thing going on in my head at 4:30 in the morning was that wooden board staring back at me from across my bedroom. Make everyone in this room financially free. I think it hit me at 4:30. I jumped out of
Mm.
bed. I quickly got dressed. I was at my office in Midtown Manhattan before the sun rose, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them their money back. I'm shutting down my fund. I
Wow.
figured out my true purpose in life.
Jeez. That's amazing. And then you actually had the time to write about this. So I'm curious now how you that whole process came about because you've actually written this. So it's not a complete secret. You're telling people, right?
Yeah, so I wrote my first book, Mindful Money Management, and then I wrote my second book, The Nine Money Rules Millionaires Use, both about this process of going from hedge fund manager to a prosperity coach to help people become financially free. And my first book was, well, I've been writing investor letters to
Mhm.
investors for 3 years, 10 pages every month, times 12 times 3 years. I have a 360-page book. I'm done.
Yeah.
Put it all together, take out the stock advice,
Mhm.
almost 300 pages, send it out to friends and family, and I got consensus. This is absolute crap. Please don't send it to anybody else. No one's going to read this. And that was my mom. Just kidding.
That was the nice comment you got, right? The best one.
So I did get some comments from a best-selling author who suggested I take out the investor letters, because what I had done is I'd written about a paragraph or a page in front of each month about what was going on in my life during that month. And she said, that page for each month is really good.
Mm.
I was like, but the book is the investor letters. She said, look, put it in the appendix and write more. And think about it for about 3 weeks. Just put it aside, just mull it over. So I did that. I came back to it and I said, she's right and everyone else is right. This is not what people want to hear. And so I started rewriting in the summer of 2017 my memoir of a hedge fund manager and put together a lot of lessons learned from my experience as a professional money manager at Citigroup and then having my own fund. I managed at the peak 700 million at Citi. I managed money in 2008. You may remember the market was
Yep.
down
Sure.
40% that year. I made money that year.
Okay.
And so I went through all the lessons learned, how to deal with the emotions, what happy habits I created for myself, and gratitude, and all these other ideas that were I learned as a professional investor. And when I sent it back to my friend who is the best-selling author, she said, okay, you're getting close, but I would just eliminate the investor letters from the appendix. Don't refer to them. It doesn't need to be in the book. Just say you have them on your website. And so that's what I did. And the book became Mindful Money Management, Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager, my first book. And as probably most first time authors, I was hesitant to completely open the kimono, as it were.
Yep.
And
Understood.
so I held some stuff back because I was fearful about what people might say if I was completely open and honest
Mm.
about my experiences and my failures and lessons learned. And so after finishing Mindful Money Management and getting feedback, this would be really great if you put together a rule book, because I hear some rules throughout this book. And so I decided I'd write a rule book based on the first book and completely open the kimono and completely give specific rules and techniques to work on your mindset and also to invest your money. And so that became the 9 money rules millionaires use, only the unconventional ones, which came out in September 2019.
And curiously, people are interested. They're curious, like, when do you write? So you have a business, you're doing things, you have a family, you have all those things. So when do you find time to do this? Some people write in the mornings, some at night, some in the evenings, weekends. What was your process?
A great question. For mindful money management, I was focused on the book. And so I just wrote whenever I had time. So it could have been morning, could have been afternoon, evening, could have been late at night if I couldn't sleep and I jumped, had an idea, when I, woke up in the middle of the night, oh, I got to get this on paper. The second book, I had my business up and running. I had coaching clients, I had family obligations. And so I specifically blocked out in my calendar 1 to 2 hours every morning. And that I didn't put anything else on my calendar except book writing. That was I actually finished writing the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use in early 2019. And it took a while publishing and marketing, getting that all lined up to get it out in September 2019. And then my last book, Infinite Love and Money, which I'm actually working on my fourth book right now, but Infinite Love and Money, which was co-authored by Molly Singh. And the purpose of that book was to end divorce caused by money. She's a relationship coach. So we came together to write this book. And that book also, I spent mornings writing.
Okay. And, there's a lot of people who say when you have this key insight about it's our mind over our money, and our mind gets in the way. I'm really curious about the content of the book and how do you assist people? So in other words, how is this not snake oil, right? That there are people who have experienced trauma. You have a great example there, someone who's gone through divorce. So they're traumatic experiences, they're melancholy, they're depressed. So how does a person, and what tips can you give for a person in those situations?
I completely agree with you. People are their own worst enemies. And your thoughts can really impact you. And so rule number one in the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use is when you believe. And a belief is just a thought you keep on thinking.
Right.
And I will say in general, there are no truths. There are only beliefs. And they may be empowering or they may be limiting. And so I have my clients or prospective clients fill out a financial freedom survey where they write down if they agree or disagree with certain beliefs about money. Do you believe you have to work really, really hard to be rich and successful? Do you believe you can be spiritual and rich? Do you believe rich people are criminals? I've literally had people check that box, rich people are criminals. Well, if you believe that all rich people are criminals and you want to be rich, you're creating this resistance. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Because you believe you're a good soul and you don't believe you're a criminal. So you're creating this limiting belief. And I will tell you personally, the richest people I've met in my life are the most kind, generous, caring, thoughtful people I've met. And so you can create your own life, your own limiting beliefs. And so you'll stop yourself from becoming the rich, successful person because of these limiting beliefs. So uncovering them can be helpful, but I'll also say that you don't need to uncover some quote unquote invisible limiting belief. Just institute empowering beliefs. Like I can work smarter and become rich and successful, as opposed to have to work really, really hard to be rich and successful. So flipping things, like I know a lot of people who are very spiritual and very rich, right? So flipping the beliefs can help you to instill new beliefs. Another powerful technique I teach my clients is acting as if. Acting as if what you want to happen has already happened. So what would you do if one of your dreams is to go on a vacation to the island of Maldives? Now, you don't have to spend any money. You could go online and check the best time of year to go. You could check out what the flights are, how many frequent flyer miles do you need to get there? What is one of the resorts that you might want to go to? There's probably 50 of them. Which one would, check them out? So you're acting as if you're about to go, and your subconscious mind is saying, okay, this is about to happen. And so I'll put things and circumstances and people in place to have this actually come into creation. So acting as if is a really powerful technique, and you don't have to spend a lot of money doing it.
That's right. And none.
None. Right.
So it is mind over matter,
Amen.
mind over money. So
Yes.
what you're saying is the limiting beliefs are true, that sometimes they're clashing and they tend to work really hard, but they're working hard because their mind is not in line with what they're actually striving to get.
A- Absolutely. And I teach systems and processes for spiritual entrepreneurs who are not making $20,000 or $30,000 a month. And I also teach stock investing for people who want to learn my 5-step proprietary stock screen that I used in my before I became a hedge fund manager, since and during, and which have generated really strong returns for my clients. But before I teach systems and processes, I teach mindset. Because if you don't have the right mindset going in, you're going to be selling when you should be buying, or you're going to be doubting yourself in your business. And so getting that mindset up to a level where you believe in your business, you wholeheartedly believe in the stock that you're investing in. And no one ever talks about this. What's your belief level before you make an investment? And by the way, if you're already invested in stocks or real estate or crypto, write down your level of belief from 1 to 10. 10 is absolute faith. I know I'm going to make money. And 1 is massive doubt. Oh my God, like there's no way I'm going to ever make money in this investment. And if you're not a 7, 8, 9, or 10, don't go there, because you're going to be selling when you should be buying and buying when you should be selling. So mindset is critical, and belief is critical to every investment and your business. And so check yourself every day, every week. What's your belief level that my business can make 20 or 30 or 40,000 a month? And if it's not there, well, come to me. I'll help you with your mindset. I give everybody 30 minutes free of prosperity coaching. Come to me, 30 minutes free. I'll send you back with a different mindset, and you can start making those amounts of money.
You just mentioned a number of different areas, and people go back and forth on these all the time, whether I should invest in crypto or real estate or stocks or what have you. Are you saying you're kind of agnostic on those things? So it just depends on that person's belief system in a particular vehicle or medium?
Absolutely. That's the exact opposite of what I'm doing compared to that guy who stood up on stage and said stock options are the only way to get rich. Because I truly believe that everyone's an individual and everyone has certain beliefs. And if I truly believe you can become rich hundreds of different ways, it depends on you. And so just because I love picking stocks and I enjoy investing in the stock market doesn't mean you do, and doesn't mean you enjoy learning my process. And so I'm not going to teach it to you if you have no interest. If you want to learn about real estate, the last chapter in the 9 Money Rules Millionaires use is all about real estate. If you want to learn about crypto, I have a program for that. If you want to learn how to get your business to the next level, I'll teach you that, because I believe that everyone's an individual. And if you're passionate, by the way, my upcoming book, written with a purpose coach, is called Your Path to Purpose and Prosperity. Your Path to Purpose and Prosperity. So if you're on purpose, I believe you're going to be prosperous. So if you're excited and interested and passionate about this particular investment or your business, that's where you're going to make more money.
Hmm. So yeah, it really doesn't matter then to you, because you're really saying it depends. Because you can go back and forth on, say, crypto, because it's controversial area. People, love it or hate it or fear it, but it really doesn't matter. It's more a matter of what a person is comfortable with and what they actually believe in regards to those things.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. 2 guys bought Bitcoin November 27, 2017. The first guy, he's done his research. He's read the white papers. He absolutely has absolute faith. If you asked him on a scale of 1 to 10 what his belief level is, 10 absolute faith, he's a 10. Second guy buys one Bitcoin same day, November 27, 2017. He'd gotten a tip from a buddy of his who said, dude, you got to get involved. It's going higher. It's going higher. Get involved. Right. And he said, seems risky. It seems speculative. Okay, I'll do it. He's a one, massive doubt. 3 days later, Bitcoin's at $10,000, up 25%. The first guy says, see, I told you I was going to make money in Bitcoin. The second guy says, I hope it doesn't go back down. And 3 days later, it's back down at 8,000. And the first guy says, this is the best buying opportunity out there. And he buys more. The second guy, he sells. He is so grateful he didn't lose any money on Bitcoin. 3 weeks later, Bitcoin's at its all-time high, $19,500. Up to that time, $19,500 all-time high. The first guy's made 250% on his money in less than 1 month.
Yeah.
So what's your belief level? The first guy was a 10. The second guy is a 1. The first guy made 250%. The first guy made 0. They both bought the same day. And so writing down your level of belief is critical. And you're going to make or lose money, I believe, based on your belief level. Now, the investment has to be a good investment, of course, as well. But two people can buy the same investment at the same time. One make a ton of money, one lose money, or not make anything.
Yeah. So it really is. It's the mind over the money, so to speak, mind over matter. So it really does come back to, you had mentioned a couple of times, it's sometimes spiritual, right? Because it's a belief system, and spiritual people sometimes, like you say, they kind of think, oh, okay, maybe rich people are criminals or there's something bad about money. And so that's a limiting belief that they have, and they're introducing it into, unfortunately, their thought process.
And then creating it for themselves. So they, these spiritual people, like I fully believe that everyone came here to be prosperous. Prosperity is your birthright. And yet you're taught other things growing up, right? And so I've met many spiritual entrepreneurs that are really, really struggling because of their belief systems. And they don't even know that they're doing it to themselves. And so, look, if anyone's listening or watching this and is really struggling, just reach out to me, because I know I can help you. I've given people manifestation techniques. I also teach 11 different manifestation techniques. And I've taught people manifestation techniques which allowed them to manifest $10,000 in 11 days.
And for people not familiar with manifestation, could you expand that a little bit and what that means?
So money manifestation, how I define it is it's a surprise amount of money that comes in that you weren't expecting. It's not like I'm calling this client week after week after week and then they sign up for a program. I talked to this client 3 years ago, and for whatever reason, they decided to call me back, 3 years later and say, hey, Joel, I'm ready now. I'm signing up. That's a money manifestation. Or it could be, in my Money Miracles membership, members have manifested $2,451,000 so far. It could be, I'll give you some examples. IRS tax refund surprise. Somebody paid for an Uber ride for one of my members. Free coffee. Somebody sold their house for $100,000 more than it was appraised for. Somebody's husband got a surprise bonus for $50,000. So it's a surprise amount of money that comes in that you weren't expecting. That's what I call a money manifestation.
And, it makes a whole lot of sense, because I can confirm these things actually happen. I talked to somebody yesterday who was visiting a town, my mom's hometown, and we're visiting. Some guy came up to them and said, how much did your meal cost? And they told him, and they said, oh, okay, well, welcome to this small little town. I'm going to pay for it. It's like, it came out of the blue. Didn't know this guy at all, but just said, I'm your guest. I'm just going to be nice and friendly. They paid for their meal. It's like, who expects that, right?
Right. So, yeah. So there's all kinds of ways that monies can manifest. And on my homepage of my website, Nathan, who did the fastest one. So I've been doing this for 8 years. I teach mindset, I teach manifestation techniques, I teach investing, and Nathan was the fastest to manifest $10,000 in 11 days,
Hmm.
and it was like he was really struggling. He wasn't making any money in his business, and I gave him this technique to do every day, 3 times a day for 30 days, and he got a $5,000 gig for his business. He had he got a he was looking to do some house sitting, and he got a house sitting gig, so he didn't have to pay. So that wasn't cash in, but it was still money
Yeah,
manifestation. He didn't
sure.
have to pay rent for a month.
Sure.
And then a friend sent him $800, and he got this MoneyGram for $1,180. So he listed all the things that came in 11 days. Just blew my mind. I'm like, dude, that's just amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. One other question a lot of authors and potential authors have is this whole process of publishing. And could you just walk us through the differences between what you think could be an option, the traditional publishing, hybrid, self-publishing, and what are the pros and cons, and what did you decide to do and why?
Yeah, I self-published all my books, and I did it for a few reasons. One is I I wanted control of the process.
Yeah,
I wanted to decide how I wanted to market the book once it was published. And I also realized that I'd get a higher percentage of the revenues
right,
of publishing, because if you go to a publishing company, they're generally taking 95 to 99%
right.
of the revenues. Whereas if you go to self-publish, you're getting, depending on the platform, 40 to 70% of the revenues.
Hmm.
So, or 30 to 70% of the revenues. And so those were the reasons why I decided to self-publish. And the cost to self-publish has come down dramatically, even since I first self-published
Right.
my first book in 2018. So I tell people who are interested in writing a book, just write. The cost right now is, it could be under $1,000. If you don't do an audio book, you could spend less than 1,000 US dollars to write a book, which is just amazing, right?
Yeah.
So and then if you do the Audible, which I've done for my second and third books, I have a buddy of mine who has a studio, and so he gives me a cut rate. So even, it's a couple of $1,000s more. So in total, it could be like $3,000-4,000 to do an audio, digital copy, and paperback. And so it's very cost effective.
Hmm.
And look, I tell clients of mine who are thinking about writing books that it's you have a message, and you have something to say that people want to hear. And by you not putting it out there, you're doing the world a disservice,
Yes.
because there are people that will be helped by you
Hmm.
writing that book. And if you're hiding and not being visible, you're doing the world a disservice. You're being selfish.
Yeah, I think it's I always tell people my 1960s idealism, make the world a better place, and people have very unique things to say, so get it out there. Joe, you've given us a number of tips and a number of things, so I really hope that what you can do is tell us about the books, where they're available, and of course, how do people reach out to you and how do they get in contact with you?
So all my books are available on Amazon and on my website as well. My website is my company name, Salor Moore. So my company name is named after my daughters, Laur for Lauren, Mor for Morgan. So it's SALAURMOR.com. And all the books are there. You can sign up for your free 30-minute prosperity coaching call, where I anyone listening, I'm going to do something very special today I haven't done before. Anyone listening to this podcast, I'm going to give them an individualized roadmap to $10,000 in the next 30 days. Just mention Dr. Digital, and I'll do that for you. So, and then I also have my free weekly email. You can sign up for that on my website. And in that weekly email, I give a money tip. I give a powerful affirmation to use for money generation. I talk about my past and upcoming events, where I'm speaking. I give a highlight of a member of my network each week, and then I also do book notes. So I read a book a week, and I do audio and written notes of the book I read that week in that weekly email.
And this is why, for the audience, why it was so difficult to get Joel on, because he is so active and he's so involved that he does so many things. But Joel, thank you very, very much for taking some time out. I really appreciate you do have this groundbreaking ideas and belief system that can help lots of people. So I really appreciate what it is that you're doing and being a guest on the program. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You bet. So I hope you've learned things, because I certainly did. And I was hoping to get Joel on for some time. If you want to create a book and you've got an idea, absolutely create a valued book in 90 days. And, if you want to know more about me and what I do, I will help people get published. I want to thank the publishers of a couple volumes, that's Burning America and also On Trackery and Hunter, for their program and their support of what I do. Connect with me on G. McSmith, the Doctor of Digital, at LinkedIn. Be glad to help you out. Until next time, I'm going to have another exciting episode just as good as Joel, because he's got a lot to share. Until next time.